Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar and workshop series conducted by TCS in lieu of the upcoming OCS exams happening in February 2026. My name is Nicholas and I'm the lead tutor and evaluator for OCS at TCS. So let's look at the session outcomes. First things first, I'm going to take you through a study plan. Some of you actually texted me and was asking whether we have enough time to conduct preparations focused on the upcoming OCS examination. Yes, you do. So focused on addressing these needs, I'm going to share a 5-week study plan with you, thereby highlighting what you need to do in the upcoming 5 weeks. Because if you stick to the study plan, which I'm sharing right now, you can easily pass this examination. As I've mentioned throughout this webinar series, out of the 3 case studies, OCS is the most technical. However, it is the easiest one if you have access to mock exams, which are intended to cover all syllabus areas. So if you stick to our study plan, you can pass comfortably in the upcoming 5 weeks. And also, I'm going to direct your attention towards the exam blueprint, thereby highlighting examiner's comments. It's essential that you understand what the examiner expects from you in terms of preparations, both before the examination and what you need to achieve on the day of the exam. And also, I am going to share some tips with you to make sure that you are in a position to improve your skill set. And due to this improvement, you are definitely going to improve your positivity and confidence levels, because as per the CIMA examiner, if you're confident before the examination, especially within the final week leading up to the exam, you are going to be confident at your real exam as well. And also, I'm going to share important stress management techniques with you, because as you can remember, we had our third webinar about 2 weeks back. We took a 2-week study break due to the festivities and the year end. So in a previous webinar, which was conducted 2 weeks prior to this webinar, I taught you crucial answering and time management techniques. And I'm going to teach you stress management techniques as well, as I promised in the third webinar. And whenever you are attempting a mock exam from this day onwards, you are supposed to practice all 3 techniques, answering, time management, and stress management. All right, so before we get into technicalities, let me quickly remind you of the upcoming webinars and workshops, rather the workshops we have scheduled for you. So we are kickstarting our workshop series from next Saturday. I'm going to conduct the workshop at 10 GMT or 10 AM. And in this workshop, I'm going to conduct a masterclass focused on your F1 syllabus. So I'm going to take you through your F1 syllabus areas. And after that, I'm going to direct your attention towards one of the questions taken from one of our mock exams, thereby, explaining how you should approach the selected syllabus area and therefore structure your answers appropriately. And similarly, I'm going to focus your attention towards P1 and E1 syllabi as well. And in each of these workshops, I'm going to conduct a masterclass, thereby explaining how to tackle an important syllabus area, which will definitely be tested at your real examination. And in the final workshop, which happens just 2 or 3 days before your examination, I'm going to share last-minute tips with you to make sure that you are positive before the exam. Because as I mentioned earlier, if you are positive before the exam, you will be positive during the exam. If so, definitely you are going to pass this exam comfortably. So as you have attended the previous webinars, I hope you will attend the workshop series as well, especially to benefit from the live Q&A session. And this is the best way to keep tabs about your performance on a weekly basis. All right, so having said that, let's move to the study plan. So as you can see, I've come up with a 5-week study plan, and the 5th week is your exam week, which is dedicated towards revision. So you need to put in all the hard yards, all the effort in the first 4 weeks or in the upcoming months, which is leading up to your examination. So if you have already planned to sit for the exams happening in February, you have to start right now, because if you waste some more time, if you wait until the last 2 or 3 weeks, yes, you will have enough time to attempt all 6 mock exams, but you won't have time to spend on revision it's essential that you revise, because the objective of this examination is to test whether you have learned your theory and at the same time you know how to apply these conceptual elements when developing your answers. So the only way to pass this examination is to improve your skill set, and the only way to improve your skill set is to conduct revision focused on each and mock which you attempt. So just because you attempt mock exams, you are not going to pass this examination. Instead, you have to take steps to improve your knowledge, improve your skill set, fine-tune your answering technique by focusing on revision concerning each and every mock exam. So when it comes to kickstarting your preparations, you have to start by watching the pre-scene analysis videos. There are 4 videos in total, which is going to take 3 hours of your time. So do not waste time to evaluate or decrypt the pre-scene information on your own. We have already done it for you. So don't try to evaluate it. Simply watch the videos, then you will gain an in-depth understanding of the internals and externals of Sumtrix, along with its financial standing and what it intends to achieve in the future concerning its budgets and costing systems. So watch the pre-scene analysis videos to gain an understanding of the pre-scene. Once you have covered the pre-scene, then watch the recorded version of the third webinar. If you missed it, you might have attended it live, then you need not watch it. However, if you missed out on it and if you are yet to watch the recorded version, please go watch the recorded version of webinar number 3, in which I've taught you crucial answering and time management techniques. It's essential that you learn these 2 techniques before you kickstart your preparations. And once you have learned your answering and time management techniques, then you should direct your attention towards conducting prep based on the mocks which we have shared with you. So attempt mock number 1 via the exam platform. Why should you attempt a mock under exam conditions via the exam platform? Given the fact that you are supposed to, at your real examination, you are supposed to sit in one place across 3 hours and attempt 4 sections, one after the other. And when doing so, it's essential that you manage your time. And if you manage your time, you are in a position to gain good marks. And at the same time, if you stick to the answering technique which we highlighted, you are in a position to develop high quality answers, cover all points which you should cover in your answers, and you are in a position to structure your answers effectively as well. And if you achieve all these things, if you manage your time, if you structure your answers properly, if you know what to include, what type of points to include in your answers, then you are going to easily gain more than 90 marks at your real examination. So that's why it's essential that you practice under exam conditions, because just because you know your answering, time management and stress management techniques, you are not going to be in a position to implement them at your real exam unless and otherwise you practice all 3 techniques, answering, time management and stress management, under exam conditions. When you do so, you will be exposed to anxious moments, you will run out of time, you will struggle with the answer structures or answer plans, you will be exposed to extreme levels of stress, especially towards the final 2 sections of your paper. I want you guys to experience all these anxieties, fatigue levels and stressors when conducting preparations, rather than facing them for the first time at your real exam. So that's why I am urging you guys to attempt mocks under exam conditions. So if you have access to our exam platform, please attempt each and every mock exam via the exam platform, which is the best way to get your grips with the technicalities behind the exam platform. And at the same time, this is the best way to practice your answering, time management and stress management techniques under exam conditions. So as you know, at the exam, you are supposed to attempt it via the Pearson VUE system. And at TCS, we have made sure to replicate the exact platform so that you have the opportunity of attempting each mock exam under real exam conditions. So the objective of attempting mocks under exam conditions is to practice your answering, time management and stress management. And once you are done with it, then you have to kickstart your revision, which is to refer to the answer plans which we have developed concerning each mock exam. So once you're done with mock number 1, go through the answer plan of mock number 1. Then you will understand how you should structure your answer, how you should approach each theoretical concept, and at the same time, within the same document, you will understand, via the same document rather, you will understand how to work in terms of improving your application skills. Once you have learned these things, after going through TCS's answer plans, keep it aside and redevelop the answer plans on your own. Try to figure out whether you have learned something by referring to TCS's answer plans. Try to figure out whether you are in a position to replicate our own answer plans, because if that is the case, you need not worry about scoring more than 90 at your real examination. So as I mentioned earlier, this is a highly technical exam. So if you know the exact points you need to include when approaching each syllabus area, you are going to get extremely good marks, because there's no decision making at this stage. So it's all about knowing how to tackle each conceptual element. And if you are in a position to understand the exact points, exact number and type of points you need to include in your answer, and if you replicate the same points in your examination, you are going to get good marks. So that's why revision is crucial. So after you have redeveloped the answer plans on your own, compare your fresh answer plans to TCS's to further refine your understanding of what you are expected to achieve when it comes to developing answers. So that's what you are supposed to achieve in the first week. So you are supposed to dedicate 10 hours of study time in the first week. And when you are in the second week, you should direct your attention towards mastering mocks 2 and 3. So stick to the same process. Attempt the mock, the second mock via the exam platform. The objective is to practice your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. Once you have practiced these 3 techniques, learn theory and application by referring to our answer plans. Once you have learned theory and application, once you know how to approach each conceptual element, test your knowledge by redeveloping answer plans on your own. Once you have redeveloped the answer plans, compare your fresh answer plans to TCSS. So once you're done with it, you have mastered a single mock exam. So likewise, you should focus your attention towards completing the remaining 6 mock exams as well. So as you know, at TCS, we have developed 6 mock exams, and we have made sure to cover 72 subtasks in total within these 6 mock exams. And when you have gone through all 72 subtasks, you will cover the entire syllabus. You will know how to approach each syllabus area. You will know how to approach each question, how to structure your answers appropriately. When this is the case, you need not worry about failing this examination. As I mentioned earlier, you can easily gain 90 marks, 90 or more marks, when your pass mark is just 80. So stick to this process. And if you do so, towards the final week, which is your examination week, you are supposed to relax, because you are not supposed to attempt mock exams, redevelop answer plans, and whatnot. Instead, you are simply supposed to read through the answer plans which you have access to concerning mocks 1 to 6, which is going to just take 6 hours of study time within the final week. So when all the other students are trying to do everything under the sun, when they are stressed out, when they are running out of time, you are relaxing. And as I mentioned earlier, if you are calm and composed before the examination, you will be calm and composed during the exam. So in order to achieve this calmness, both mentally and physically, it's essential that you stick to the study plan, because if you do so, you are putting in all the effort in the first 4 weeks. And I'm not asking you to do too much, because you need to dedicate something like 10 to 11 hours per week. Other than that, and after doing so, when you are in the final week, which is your exam week, you are supposed to simply go through the answer plans. You are supposed to be involved with last minute revision. And when you are going through all 6 answer plans, it's as if you are going through the entire syllabus one last time, and at the same time reworking or revising about application. And once you're done with it, you are supposed to stop all work a day or 2 prior to the examination. As I mentioned earlier, it's essential that you rest well before the exam. So take a break a day or 2 before your examination, because it's it's good to rest. When you know for a fact that you have put in all the hard yards, when you know for a fact that you have attempted all 6 mock exams and conducted revision focused on the same 6 mock exams, when you know that you have taken steps to practice your answering time management and stress management techniques, and when you know that just 2 or 3 days before the examination you have gone through all 6 mock exams, thereby ensuring that you are conversant with all syllabus areas. You know how to apply these concepts when developing answers. When you know this, you can rest well before the examination. So don't worry. Once if you stick to the study plan, take a break a day or two before the examination, because it's best to walk into the exam with an open mind. If you're open-minded at the examination, then you will think in a rational manner. And if you think rationally, you will come up with highly successful answers. So I hope you will stick to the study plan, and I will, after this webinar, I'm going to share the study plan via the WhatsApp group as well. So as I mentioned earlier, when conducting preparations, you are supposed to stick to this 3-step process. So the 3 steps are to practice, learn, and revise. So focused on each mock exam, you need to adhere to these 3 steps. So when it comes to practicing, you are supposed to attempt a mock exam under exam conditions, which the prime objective of practicing your answering time management and stress management techniques. Once you have practiced these 3 techniques, learning happens when you are supposed to read through each answer plan. And once you have read through each answer plan, when you realize how you should structure your answers, how to approach each conceptual element, what to include, what type of points to include under each and every section, then you should focus your attention towards revision. And when you are revising, you are supposed to redevelop answer plans on your own. Once you have redeveloped your answer plans, compare these answer plans to TCS's. So if you stick to this 3-step process focused on each mock exam, you are taking steps to go through the entire syllabus, be conversant with how to structure your answers, be conversant with which points you should include under each section of your paper. When this is the case, you can easily score more than 90 marks at your examination. And if you look at this 3-step process, you are taking steps to practice your technicalities, which are to practice answering time management and stress management. And then you are focusing on the answers twice. Why am I saying this? Because you are supposed to read through the answer plans. This is where you learn. Once you have learned how to tackle each conceptual element, you are not stopping your preparations there. Instead, you are working on your own. You are trying to redevelop answer plans. So it's as if you stick to this 3-step process, it's as if you are attempting each mock exam thrice. And as per our study plan, in the exam week, you are supposed to read through the answer plans as well. So this is the 4th time in which you are going through a single mock exam. So you are not just attempting 6 mocks. Instead, you are going through each of these 6 mocks 4 times before walking into the examination. That is enough and more practice for you to get everything right at your exam. So in order to be comfortable, you have to be conversant with how each syllabus area is tested. We have covered all syllabus areas within the 6 mock exams. That's why we have taken steps to include 72 subtasks in total. And when you conduct your preparation and revision focused on the same 6 mock exams, and when you take steps to go through each mock exam 4 times over, then you can easily pass this examination. All right, so that's your study plan. And having said that, I want to direct your attention towards the exam blueprint, especially concerning what the examiner has to tell us. So as per the examiner, if you are to develop good answers, you need to develop answers which are relevant to each requirement. So in the previous webinar, in the 3rd webinar, I said that before you develop the answer plan, you are supposed to simplify each requirement in your own words in a concise manner, with the prime objective of gaining a clear understanding of each requirement. So if you had gone through mock papers, and if you had gone through the requirements which appear within each and every subtask, or each and every section rather, you would have understood that certain requirements are quite long. And when this is the case, students struggle to gain a clear understanding of what they're expected to achieve when it comes to developing their answers. And if students misunderstand the requirement, they will end up developing an answer which is not aligned with the requirement. When this is the case, you are not going to get any marks. So in order to avoid this issue, in order to make sure that you are developing good answers, it's essential that you listen to the CIMA examiner, and the CIMA examiner is asking you to develop answers which are totally aligned with each requirement. And in order to achieve this, you are supposed to simplify each requirement in your own words before you develop the answer plan. I explained all these things. I explained how to do this in a practical manner in the third webinar. So if you missed it, please go watch the recorded version, which can be accessed via our YouTube channel and our student dashboard. And on top of that, if you are to get good marks, you should have the capability to show to the marker that you have studied all areas of the syllabus. So your technical knowledge is heavily tested in this examination. As I mentioned in the previous two webinars, your 80%, 85% of the questions are intended to test your theory knowledge. So this is a P1 and F1 heavy examination. So if there are knowledge gaps, you are not going to pass this exam. If there are knowledge gaps, if you walk into the exam with knowledge gaps, you will be testing your luck, especially if you are coming through an exemption route such as FLP. So FLP students think that they can easily pass this examination given the fact that you have access to some set of videos on the FLP platform. And on top of that, there are, competency exams and some reading material. Students think that by going through this material, they can easily learn theory. Yes, you can learn theory. However, you won't figure out application, because just because you watch a video, you are not going to figure out application unless and otherwise you have access to answer plans concerning each mock exam. And also, if you look at the FLP platform, you will only have access to 2 or 3 mock exams. And as I mentioned earlier, you cannot cover the entire syllabus within just 2 or 3 mock exams. Because if you had gone through past variants or past papers, you would have seen that the examiner develops 6 different papers focused on a single pre-scene. Why 6 variants? Why 6 papers? Because the examiner intends to cover all syllabus areas when developing these 6 papers. So when conducting your preparations, it's essential that you mirror a similar process. That's why we have developed 6 mock exams. That's why we are pushing you guys to attempt 6 mocks in order to be fully prepared before walking into the examination. So at this exam, if you are to get good marks, you need to show to the marker that you possess the appropriate level of technical knowledge or theoretical knowledge. So if you just attempt 2 or 3 mock exams, definitely you will walk into the exam with knowledge gaps. When there are knowledge gaps, you are not going to pass this examination. And also, just because you know your theory, you are not going to pass this exam, because this examination is supposed to intended to test your application skills. So you should have a good understanding of how to apply the conceptual knowledge which you have gained via F1 and P1 syllabi. For instance, if there's a question about sales variances, there's absolutely no point of explaining sales variances, mentioning how to compute it, without utilizing the information presented in the unseen when developing your answers. So if the sales price variance is adverse, you are supposed to explain why the sales price variance is adverse, utilizing the information presented in each unseen. Rather than doing so, students have a tendency to come up with highly technical answers. They forget about application. This happens when they are clueless about how to work in terms of application skills. This happens when they do not have access to answer plans. So that's why we have made sure to cover all syllabus areas. That's why we are sharing answer plans with you. That's why we are asking you to conduct revision, which is to redevelop answer plans. Because if you do all these things, you are taking steps to learn all theoretical areas and how each concept can be tested at the exam. And at the same time, you are working on your application skills since you are going through answer plans and you are taking steps to redevelop answer plans. And on top of that, the examiner wants you to structure your answers well. So that is why the answering technique is crucial. I taught you how to structure answers properly in the third webinar. Please go watch the recorded version. So you need to take steps to structure your answers like this, or when it comes to planning your answers. So, before you finalize your answer, you need to plan your answer or structure your answer in bullet points such as this. So this is exactly what the examiner is telling you. So before you finalize your answer, you need to develop an answer plan or an answer structure. And then your final answer should be in paragraph form. So although your answer plan or your answer structure should look something like this, your final answer should look something like this, which should be in paragraph form. And as I mentioned in last week's webinar, you need to develop a paragraph per answer point. So if you intended to include or decided to include 7 valid points in your answer plan, then in your final answer, there should be 7 different paragraphs. In the last webinar, I asked you guys not to write the entire answer in one single paragraph, because if you are doing so, you are not listening to the CIMA examiner, you are not helping the marker. When this is the case, you are not going to pass this examination. So in a nutshell, what you're supposed to do is, if you are to develop high quality answers, first things first, you need to gain a clear understanding of the requirement. You can achieve this by simplifying each requirement in your own words before developing the answer plan. And you are supposed to show to the marker that you possess a good knowledge of what is covered under P1 and F1 syllabi. And at the same time, you should show to the marker that you are capable of applying this conceptual knowledge when developing your answers. That is why I want you guys to attempt all 6 mock exams and then take steps to revise by redeveloping answer plans. By doing so, you are covering both these elements, and your answers should be well structured. So if you attempt each mock exam under exam conditions, you are practicing your answering technique or your answer planning technique. And when you take steps to redevelop answer plans, again, you are practicing answer structuring. And once you have structured your answers, you are supposed to expand each main point in paragraph form. And there's some decision making which is tested at this examination. I said that 85% of the questions are intended to test your technical knowledge, whereas 15% of the questions are intended to test your decision making capabilities. And the only type of questions in which your decision making capabilities will be tested are in terms of questions to do with key performance indicators. So you might have seen, if you had done this exam previously, if you are a repeater, you know what I'm talking about. You might have seen questions to do with KPIs in which you are supposed to suggest key performance indicators. So this is when your decision-making capabilities are tested. So whenever you are suggesting a KPI, you have to back it up with appropriate justifications or arguments. So you need to say, okay, I'm suggesting this KPI because of these, and these reasons. So without providing appropriate justification, if you just mention a KPI, you are not going to get any marks, because the examiner is trying to replicate a real life corporate environment. So it's as if you are reporting to your finance manager. So when the finance manager is asking you to recommend KPIs, if you just mention the name of the KPI, the finance manager will have to respond to you and ask for a reason as to why you suggested a certain KPI. So at the exam, the marker can't do so. Because of that, you are not going to get marks. So at office, your boss can actually ask you for justifications. But at the exam, since there's no such process, you are going to lose a lot of marks. So whenever you are suggesting a KPI, back it up with appropriate justifications. If you do so, you are going to get good marks. So I'm not the person who's saying these things. You have to listen to the CIMA examiner. All right. And then the examiner asks you to achieve certain things before the examination. You should study all areas of the syllabus. So that's why I said previously that especially if you are coming through an exemption route, definitely you will have knowledge gaps. If you have knowledge gaps, if you don't take steps to fix these knowledge gaps, you are going to struggle at your real examination. So let's look at this syllabus coverage document. In this document, I've highlighted all syllabus areas which are covered within our 6 mock exams. As I mentioned earlier, there are 72 subtasks in total which are covered within the mocks. So you have to be conversant with all these syllabus areas to pass this exam comfortably. So in terms of, if I tell you certain syllabus areas in which students struggle a lot, students tend to disregard certain hard questions, which are a good example is a question to do with multi-product break-even analysis, which comes with a chart. You are supposed to evaluate the chart. Most students are clueless of what this chart is all about. And similarly, questions to do with linear programming are mostly left out. If you go through the exam blueprint, this is what the examiner is telling us. Whenever there is a graph, students do not have the capability of evaluating the graph, especially given the fact that when conducting their preparations, they have not gone through similar questions. And at the same time, when conducting their preparations, they have never seen these type of questions in any of the videos or reading material. So when you haven't seen questions tied to linear programming and break-even point before walking into the examination, and when it appears at your exam, the weightage is going to be 60%. And when you miss out on a question which carries a weightage of 60%, then you are never going to pass this examination. So that's why it's essential that you get your grips with all these syllabus areas, because this is a vast syllabus. Just to mention the syllabus, it had taken me 4.5 pages. So definitely you have to be conversant with all these syllabus areas. So don't try to learn everything on your own, because you are not in a position to do so within just 5 weeks. The most prudent way to cover all syllabus areas and therefore be conversant with how to approach each syllabus area is to attempt our 6 mock exams and conduct revision focused on the same 6 mock exams. All right, so that's what you're supposed to achieve before the examination. You are supposed to study all areas of the syllabus. So and the best way to study each conceptual element is to focus on mock exams, because when you focus on mock exams, you'd get an understanding of how each conceptual element is tested at the operational case study. And also before the exam, you have to work on your application skills. You will figure these out, given the fact that you are in terms of conducting revision, you are supposed to redevelop answer plans, and by redeveloping answer plans, you are taking steps to significantly improve your application skills, because the prime objective of conducting revision by redeveloping answer plans is to fine-tune your answering technique and application skills. So when you are attempting mocks under exam conditions, you are trying to practice answering and time management technique. When you're practicing answering technique or answer planning, you are trying to practice application under exam conditions. And also when you are going through the answer plans, you are figuring out application. And when you redevelop answer plans on your own, you are effectively trying to practice your application skills. So if you attempt the 6 mocks and conduct revision, you are taking steps to learn all syllabus areas and at the same time fine-tune your application skills. And also before the examination, in terms of mock attempts, the examiner is asking us to practice tasks by typing or writing full answers. So at your exam, you have to sit in one place across 3 hours and attempt 4 sections, one after the other. But 90% of the students out there, when conducting preparations, when attempting mock exams, they break a mock exam into 4 different sections and attempt each section on various different days or with breaks between each and every section. So at the exam, you can't take any breaks between sections. Instead, you have to attempt all 4 sections one after the other. However, when conducting preparations, students tend to, for instance, attempt section number 1 of a certain mock exam today, section 2 tomorrow, section 3 day after tomorrow, and whatnot. So when you are doing this, when you are practicing this, you are not getting accustomed to exam conditions, because take it from me, when you attempt a mock exam under exam conditions, especially towards the final 2 sections, fatigue sets in. Fatigue leads to extreme levels of stress. Stress leads to brain freeze. So it's best to experience all these issues right now when you are conducting preparations, rather than facing them for the first time at your real examination. Because when you face these problems right now, you will know how to overcome these issues, because in a little while I'm going to teach you stress management techniques. And also, you won't just know these techniques, you have taken steps to practice these techniques when conducting preparation. And when this is the case, when you are fatigued during your exam, you know how to get out of a stressful situation, how to get rid of fatigue when given the fact that you have attempted each mock exam under exam conditions. So it is the CIMA examiner who wants you to practice tasks, and when doing so, the examiner expects you to type or write full answers. So you have to find 3 hours on a weekly basis, or whenever you are attempting a mock exam, you have to find 3 hours, isolate yourself, and attempt it under exam conditions to get your grips with the type of stresses and anxieties you might face when sitting in one place across 3 hours. And when you take steps to practice these techniques and effectively manage your stress levels, you will be extremely comfortable at your real examination. So before the exam, you are supposed to study all areas of the syllabus. You don't have time to learn theory on your own. Simply attempt all 6 mock exams which we have developed. We have made sure to cover all syllabus areas within these 6 mock exams, and you have to work on application. So when you are conducting revision, you are focusing on just this. You are focusing on improving your application skills, and whenever you are attempting a mock exam, you are supposed to type or write full answers. So with the intention of ensuring that you have the opportunity of practicing mocks under real exam conditions, we at TCS, we have taken steps to develop the exact replica of the Pearson VUE system on which you'd attempt your real exam. So you have the opportunity of practicing under real exam conditions, with the prime objective of fine-tuning your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. And on the day of the exam or during the exam, what are you expected to do? You are supposed to plan your answers. So if you have to successfully plan your answers during the exam, you need to practice the answer planning technique when conducting your preparations, when attempting each of your mock exams. So as I mentioned on numerous occasions within this webinar, I've already taught you this answer planning technique. However, just because you know this technique, you are not in a position to implement it successfully at your exam, because as per our answering technique, you are supposed to dedicate 5 minutes of your time in each section to read through the entire scenario, and then dedicate just 20 minutes to develop the answer plan focused on all subtasks which appear within a section. Although I'm asking you to develop the answer plan within just 20 minutes, when you try it for the first time, definitely you are going to take 35 to 40 minutes. So if you do not practice this technique and try to implement it for the first time during your exam or at your examination, you are definitely going to run out of time, because when you take 40 minutes to develop the answer plan, you won't have time to expand your answer plan in paragraph form. When this is the case, when your entire answer looks something like this, you are not, even if your answer is accurate, you are not going to get any marks, because the marker is expecting to see an answer which is in paragraph form, not an answer which is in bullet points. So you should have the capability of developing an answer plan within just 20 minutes. In order to achieve this feat, you have to keep practicing this answering technique whenever you are attempting a mock exam. So if you have to plan your answers successfully at your real examination, you have to practice the answering technique which we taught in the 3rd webinar. And the marker is under strict instructions to mark answers on their merits. So the marker is never going to look at the quantity of your answer or the length of your answer or the word count. Instead, the marker is going to look at the quality of your answer. So that is why it's essential that you nail the answering technique, because if so, you will know how to approach each syllabus area, and at the same time, you would know what type of points you should include under each subtask, how to structure your answers. When this is the case, you are primarily focusing on achieving quality, and when you achieve quality, you will get the best amount of marks at your real examination. So I've seen tutors out there saying that in order to achieve an X amount of marks, you need to include an X amount of words, which is not the case ever, given the fact that the CIMA examiner replicates a real life corporate environment. In a real life corporate environment, just imagine that you're actually working at your own office. At office, when you are responding to an email, is your superior going to count the number of words, or is the superior going to look at whether you have addressed the requirement successfully or not? The superior is going to look at the content of your answer, the quality of your response, not the quantity of your response. So the CIMA examiner is actually telling us the same fact. So don't worry about a word count. As long as you nail your answering technique, then you will get marks based on the quality of your answer. So during the answer, in order to develop high quality answers, you are supposed to plan your answers. That is why you need to practice the answering technique, which we have taught in the third webinar. All right, so these are the points which the examiner has highlighted, and based on the same recommendations, we have taken steps to develop resources and a study process which is focused on learning theory and theory by attempting mock exams, and then you are supposed to conduct revision with the intention of fine-tuning your theoretical knowledge and application skills. All right, so having said that, let me quickly tell you what we offer at TCS before I teach you the stress management techniques. So I'm on the OCS page. If you're yet to create a free user account, click on this button and create one. Once you have created a free user account, you will gain access to our student dashboard, via which you can gain access to the free resources. So click on my courses. In front of OCS free, you'd see an access content button. Click on it, and once you have clicked on it, you'd gain access to the recorded versions of the webinars and workshops which we conduct on a weekly basis. So a crucial webinar was conducted 2 weeks back, which was our third webinar, in which I taught you answering and time management technique. So if you missed it, please go watch it. You can watch it via our exam platform itself. And under the study material tab, you would gain access to the answer plan of the mini mock, which is the first two section of our mock exam 1, the pre-seen mind map and the syllabus coverage document. All these resources can be downloaded. And under the mocks tab, you'd gain access to the questions and suggested answers of mock exam 1. And via the exams tab, you have the opportunity of attempting mock number 1 under exam conditions. So you have access to the entire mock, which can be attempted via TCS's exam platform, which is the exact replica of the Pearson VUE system. So this is the best way to practice your answering, time management, and stress management techniques under exam conditions by attempting mock number 1. When you are done with this process, when you are done with the mock attempt or attempting mock number 1, you will gain a clear understanding of what your shortcomings are, and then you are supposed to take steps to fix your shortcomings when conducting revision. So these are the free resources on offer. And if you are interested in investing on our paid content, click on this button and check our sample resources or sample material before you do so. And if you are yet to join our OCS WhatsApp group, click on this button and join it. Via this group, we are sharing free resources with you. And at the same time, if you have any questions, you can get them addressed instantaneously, because I'm always there to help you guys out. And you can also engage with the other students and be involved with group learning. So if you're yet to join it, please click on this button and join our WhatsApp group. And talking about what we offer 2 packages, the essential course and the value course. The essential course is intended for those who have completed their E1, F1, and P1 OTQs. Since you have completed your OTQs, you have a good understanding of all conceptual elements. if you have knowledge gaps, you can never pass this OTQ examination since you have already learned your theory. And given the fact that the operational case study is a highly technical examination, you can pass this exam comfortably simply by practicing your application skills. So under the essential course, you'd gain access to the recordings of all weekly webinars and workshops, along with 3 mock exams with suggested answers. So all this time, I was talking about 6 mock exams. So you might be wondering as to why under the essential course, you have access to just 3 mocks. Because as I mentioned earlier, if you have completed your OTQs, you know theory. It's simply a matter of brushing your application. You can easily do so by having access to just 3 mock exams and conducting revision focused on the same 3 mock exams. So that's why we have included just 3 mocks under the essential course. You'd also gain access to the pre-scene analysis videos. Once you have watched these 4 videos, you will gain an in-depth understanding of what's highlighted within your pre-scene. You'd also gain access to the annotated pre-scene, the industry and financial analysis slides. Let me quickly show you what these resources look like. So we have come up with annotations with the intention of summarizing the entire pre-scene, which makes your life easy when it comes to understanding the most important points highlighted within the pre-scene document. Also, we have indicated probable exam scenarios which can be tested, which are aligned with the information presented in the pre-scene, and aligning with the exam scenarios. We have highlighted the syllabus areas which can be tested as well. And when developing our mock exams, we have made sure to cover all these elements. So this is what the annotated pre-scene looks like. And we have also conducted an industry analysis by creating a set of slides focused on your industry. So in the first part, we have defined the industry. In the second part, we have explained how this industry works, how the competitive landscape works actually. And in the third part, we have highlighted industry trends. Based on these industry trends, scenarios will be thrown at you at your real exam. And towards the very end, concerning 2 real-life companies, we have explained what these companies are up to and how they operate within your industry. And similarly, we have evaluated the financial statements. So we have evaluated the statement of profit and loss, the statement of financial position, as well as the statement of cash flows. And also we have conducted the ratio analysis. And when doing this analysis, we have made sure to keep things simple so that you can easily understand the financial standing of your chosen company. So these are the resources on offer under the essential course, and you'd also gain access to top 10 likely issue slides, which indicate the most probable syllabus areas which can be tested. The case study familiarization kit will give you a good understanding about the technicalities behind the OCS exam, and you also have access to a tutor-managed live chat via the essential course. So the essential course is priced at £99. And talking about the value course, this course is designed for those who are coming through the exemption routes and those who had failed the exam previously. So both these sets of students have the same problem. There are gaps in theory knowledge and issues with application. So with the intention of covering all syllabus areas, teaching you theory, and making sure that you have the capability to significantly improve your application skills, we have included some additional resources under the value course on top of what you'd gain access to under the essential course. So if you invest on the value course, you will gain access to 6 mock exams with suggested answers. As I've mentioned earlier, we have made sure to cover all syllabus areas. That's why you will see 72 subtasks in total within these 6 mock exams. If you are coming through FLP, if you had gone through the mock exams which are available under the FLP route, you might have access to 2 or 3 mock exams. Let's assume you have access to 3 mock exams. In each section, you will just see 2 subtasks. So all in all, you will see something like 8 to 9 subtasks within each mock exam. And therefore, you will only have access to 27 subtasks in total. When this is the case, we are offering 72 subtasks, which are intended to cover all syllabus areas. So all these mocks are accessible via the value course, and also you'd gain access to the OTQ revision cards after attempting a mock exam. If you feel that you are clueless of the conceptual element, then rather than going through bulky study texts and spending a lot of time conducting your own research, simply refer to the OTQ revision cards in a JFE. You are going to gain a good understanding of each conceptual element. And also, you have access to answer plans of all 6 mock exams. When you have access to these answer plans, you can easily learn theory, figure out how to work on your application, and figure out how to structure your answers effectively. So rather than going through pages and pages of suggested answers and trying to figure out the logic behind each answer, simply refer to the answer plans which we have developed focused on all 6 mock exams. You will easily see the logic behind each answer, how you should structure each answer, and how you should approach application concerning each conceptual element. And you have access to the online mock exam platform on which you can attempt all 6 mocks under exam conditions with the prime intention of mastering your answering, time management, and stress management techniques under real exam conditions. So
Oh,
the value course is priced at £199. You can invest on your preferred course by clicking on either of these buttons. And some of you are sticking to our original study plan, which can be accessed via our website itself. And as per our original study plan, we are in week number 4, and you are supposed to dedicate your attention towards mastering mock number 3 within this week. So you can keep with the practice, or if you are yet to start, do not worry. At the inception of this webinar, I shared a 5-week study plan with you. I explained it in depth, and I will be sharing the same study plan via the WhatsApp group. All right, so that's what we offer. Having said that, let's try to understand what you need to do to develop your confidence, because as I mentioned earlier, it's crucial that you walk into the exam with a high level of positivity. You can only achieve this by practicing these techniques. So first things first, the first step towards achieving a high level of positivity, building your confidence, is to stick to our study plan. Because as per our study plan, you are supposed to master a mock exam, and when it comes each you are supposed to master each and every mock exam before you walk into the examination. And when it comes to mastering each mock exam, you are supposed to stick to a 3-step process. You are supposed to practice your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. You are supposed to learn theory and application by going through the answer plans, and then you are supposed to revise your knowledge by redeveloping answer plans on your own. So when you stick to this 3-step process, as I mentioned earlier, it's as if you are going through each mock exam thrice, and towards the final week of the exam, you are supposed to read through the answer plans once more. So you are walking into the exam not just by attempting 6 mock exams, but you have taken steps to attempt each mock exam, conduct revision focused on the same mock exams, and not just once. You have gone through this process focused on each mock exam 4 times over before you walk into your examination. So that's exactly what you are supposed to do to develop your confidence, because when you stick to this process, you are practicing your technical skills, which are answering, time management, and stress management. And by the time you are in mock number 4, you for yourself will feel confident about the fact that you have the capability of developing answer plans within just 20 to 25 minutes. You will know that you are better at managing time, and you will know that you are better at structuring your answers. When this is the case, when you feel this, it leads to higher levels of positivity, because when you know for a fact that you are getting grips with the technicalities, you know that you are going to be successful at your real exam. And it's essential that you stick to a routine at least in the upcoming months. Why am I saying this? Because on top of your routine duties, it could be something to do with your family, or it could be something to do with your office work, or you might be running your own business. On top of all these responsibilities, you now have an added responsibility, which is to finish the operational case study, or prepare for the operational case study, which is not an easy task. So that's why it's essential that you stick to a routine, wake up and sleep at a predetermined time. When this is the case, you will not feel a lot of fatigue. You won't be stressed unduly. And if you're struggling to wake up and sleep at a predetermined time, focus on your daily meal intake. Have your breakfast, lunch, and dinner at a predetermined time. When this is the case, you will fall asleep at a certain time. If you fall asleep on time, then you can wake up easily next day morning without any hiccups. So if you're struggling to wake up or sleep, at least in the upcoming 4 weeks, fix your daily meal intake. If you do so, you are taking steps to be physically and mentally fit. When you are physically and mentally fit, you can put in some extra effort to pass this examination without any hiccups. And whenever you are practicing mock exams, practice under simulated exam conditions, practice under real exam conditions. So that is why we have developed an exam platform which is akin to the Pearson VUE system. So practice mocks via our exam platform. And when attempting each mock exam, do it in isolation, lock yourself in a room. I know if you have kids, they're never going to leave you alone for 3 hours at a stretch. That's fine. Leave them outside the room. Focus on your mock attempt, because your real responsibility is to practice your answering, time management, and stress management techniques under exam conditions. If you do so, you are going to be successful at your real examination. And when attempting each mock exam, stick to the exam technique routine, which I taught you in the third webinar, which is to, read within the first 5 minutes of each section, read through the entire unseen, and then dedicate 20 minutes of your time to plan your answer. Once you have planned your answer, utilize the remaining time, which is 20 minutes, again, to expand your answer plan in paragraph form. So when you take steps to practice mocks under exam conditions, when you take steps to practice our answering, time management, and stress management techniques, again, by the time you are in mock number 4, you will understand, or you will realize the fact that you are structuring your answers better than what you used to. You are never running out of time, and you are managing stressful situations effectively. When you get this thought, when you realize that you are capable of managing stresses, managing time, developing answers properly, this leads to positivity. Positivity leads to a situation where you ace your examination. So the objective in the upcoming 5 weeks should be to work on your skill set, work on your knowledge, so you can achieve all these things if you stick to our 3-step process, because you are practicing your skill set whenever you are attempting a mock exam, and then you are focusing your attention towards learning via the answer plans, and then you are taking steps to revise your knowledge by redeveloping answer plans. And this will ensure that you are significantly improving your theoretical knowledge, and at the same time you are improving your application skills. Also, you are taking steps to improve the technical elements tied to answering, time management, and stress management. So when you practice these elements, by the time you are walking into the examination, you know for a fact that you have nailed all theoretical concepts. You know how to apply these conceptual knowledge when developing answers. When you know for a fact that you are managing the technical elements, then you are going to easily pass this examination. And having said that, I also want to direct your attention towards how you should manage your stress levels, because at this examination, as I mentioned throughout this webinar series, the examiner is trying to replicate a real-life corporate environment. So in a real-life corporate environment, however knowledgeable you are, if you are not in a position to manage stressful situations effectively, you are going to lose your job, or you will be demoted. So it's essential that you get grips with how to manage stressful situations, because the examiner purposely creates a stressful environment. You are supposed to operate in a time pressured environment when attempting your real paper, and your paper is divided into 4 sections. The time allocation of each section is 45 minutes each. Between sections, you do not have a break. When this is the case, especially towards the last 2 sections, fatigue sets in. And as I mentioned earlier, fatigue leads to stress. Stress leads to brain freeze. So you have to have an understanding of how to manage stressful situations. If not, you are going to run out of time. When you run out of time, you will end up developing half-hearted answers or incomplete answers. And when this is the case, you are never going to pass this exam. So that's why I intend to teach you guys how to manage stressful situations. So before I talk about how to manage stresses, let me talk about the human brain and how it functions. So at the examination, you are supposed to come up with the best type of evaluations, best type of recommendations. And if you are to come up with the best type of answers, you are supposed to think in a rational manner. And if you are to think rationally, then you are supposed to utilize your prefrontal cortex, or the front part of your brain. Okay, so you are supposed to be rational at the exam. If so, you will come up with the most successful answers. If you are to be rational, you have to think through your prefrontal cortex. But the problem with the prefrontal cortex is the fact that you can really focus on something for something like 45 minutes. So if you're really focusing on something, it means that you are utilizing your prefrontal cortex. So you can utilize your prefrontal cortex, or you can focus on something for something like 45 minutes. But beyond that point, your brain will keep asking you to take a break. So at office, you might have felt it. When working or running your own business, you can really focus on something for something like 40 to 45 minutes. But beyond that point, there's a tendency for you to seek a break. And at office, you can easily do this because you can walk off your cubicle or have a chat with your friends. If you're into eating something, you can have a snack. Or if you're into smoking or drinking a cup of coffee, or drinking some tea, you can do all these things with the intention of resting your prefrontal cortex. You do these things unknowingly. So in a real life corporate environment, whenever you are feeling stressed, you can do something to get out of a stressful situation simply by taking a break, simply by making sure that you are allowing your prefrontal cortex to rest. However, at the exam, you can't do this because, as I mentioned earlier, between sections, you cannot take a break. So within the first 45 minutes or within the first section, you will be completely all right. But when you are in section number 2, you will feel some type of fatigue setting in. And definitely within the final 2 sections, you are going to panic because you will be exposed to extreme levels of fatigue. When you are exposed to extreme levels of fatigue, when your brain is asking you to take a break, yet when you are pressurizing your brain further, then you will be exposed to something called brain freeze. And when you are experiencing brain freeze, you can't think properly. Nothing comes into your head. You might be trying to type something, but nothing. You cannot type anything, or you might be trying to read through the unseen, but nothing goes into your head. And this is a situation in which you become extremely emotional. I've dealt with students under exam conditions. When they are exposed to extreme levels of stress, they experience brain freeze. When they experience brain freeze, they become extremely emotional. That is why students tend to cry during the examination, or students tend to feel extremely warm or extremely cold. This happens when you have lost control of your brain. So in order to make sure that you have full control of your brain, you have the capability of thinking through your prefrontal cortex, simply stick to our answering technique. Because as per our answering technique, in the first 5 minutes, you are supposed to read. In the first 5 minutes of each section, you are supposed to read through the unseen. So you have to be really focused. And when it comes to developing the answer plan, you are supposed to dedicate 20 minutes of your time in each section. Again, you have to be really focused. But when it comes to typing, it's simply a matter of expanding the answer plan in paragraph form. So when you had planned your answer, you have already thought out what you should include in your answer, what type of points should be included. And since you have already planned out your answer, when it comes to expanding the answer plan, or when it comes to typing, there's no thinking involved. It's simply a matter of connecting each bullet point, or filling the gaps as and when necessary. So there's not a lot of thinking involved towards the last 20 minutes of each section. And this is the time in which you are letting your prefrontal cortex rest. So if you stick to this answering technique, within the first 25 minutes, You are supposed to really utilize your prefrontal cortex to the maximum capacity. But when it comes to the final 20 minutes of each section, it's as if you are letting your prefrontal cortex rest. When this is the case, you are taking steps to avoid undue stress levels. So by sticking to our answering technique, you are effectively taking steps to relax your prefrontal cortex towards the last 20 minutes of each section. Even after doing this, even after sticking to our answering technique, especially in section number 4, you will definitely experience some type of extreme levels of stress due to fatigue setting in, because if you have attempted a mock exam under exam conditions, you do know what I'm talking about. If you had attempted an OCS exam previously and failed to clear it, you know what I'm talking about. In section 3 or 4, especially in section 4, there's a tendency for you to give up the fight. There's a tendency for you to run out of time because you are trying to think, nothing comes to your head. This happens when your amygdala is in play. So there's a small part of our brain which is known as the amygdala. So as I mentioned earlier, you are supposed to think through your prefrontal cortex if you are to come up with rational decisions. However, your attention span is just for 45 minutes. And when you pressurize your prefrontal cortex beyond this limit, your brain functions will shift from your prefrontal cortex to the amygdala. And when the amygdala is in play, you will experience a fight or flight response. So the brain will ask you to either take flight or move away from a stressful situation. This is when students give up and walk away from the exam center, or walk away from the laptop if they are attempting the exam at home. So if you give up, you are never going to pass this exam. So the flight option is not really an option. Instead, the only option at your disposal is to fight a stressful situation. So whenever your brain is stressed too much, the brain will ask you to either move away from a stressful situation or fight a stressful situation. So you cannot move away from a stressful situation. If you do so, you are going to fail your exam. The only option at your disposal is to fight a stressful situation. So if you don't know how to fight a stressful situation, what happens is you end up pressurizing your prefrontal cortex further. When this is the case, you will experience brain freeze. You will get extremely emotional. And when you are extremely emotional, you are not in a position to focus on your examination. So this happens due to the fact that your amygdala is in play. So you have to take steps to switch off your amygdala. This is the only way to fight a stressful situation. So as I mentioned earlier, when the amygdala is in play, you have two options at your disposal. Either you can avoid the stressful situation. You can't do so at the exam. So the only other option is to fight the stressful situation. And the only way to fight a stressful situation successfully is to switch off your amygdala. And the only way to switch off your amygdala is to focus on your breathing. So whenever you feel stressed when attempting a mock exam, close your eyes for 2 minutes and focus on your breathing. Inhale through your nose and exhale from your mouth. And when inhaling, count to 3 slowly. And when exhaling, again count to 3 slowly. Practice this for 2 minutes. And this type of focus will ensure that you shift your brain functions from your amygdala back to the prefrontal cortex. And when your prefrontal cortex is functioning once more, you can keep moving forward with your sitting. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, whenever you are feeling stressed, the only way to fight a stressful situation is to switch off your amygdala. So after this session, you know what leads to stress and how to control it. So you have to take steps to switch off your amygdala. And with this in mind, you are supposed to focus on your breathing for 2 minutes. So close your eyes and inhale through your nose. When inhaling, count to 3 slowly. And when exhaling, exhale through your mouth. Again, focus on the 3 counts. Do it for 2 minutes. And once you're done with it, you have effectively taken steps to recalibrate your brain or refresh your prefrontal cortex. When this is the case, you can easily keep moving forward. And most students who end up scoring more than 90 marks, especially those at TCS, what they do is there's a tendency for them to take a 2-minute break between sections or between tasks. So let's assume you are done with the first section and you are in section number 2. Before reading through the unseen of section number 2, most students close their eyes for 2 minutes, focus on their breathing with the intention of refreshing their brain or recalibrating the brain. And once they had refreshed their brains, once they are calm and composed, they start with section number 2. And when they're done with section number 2, when they're directed to section number 3, again, right at the beginning of the section, they spend 2 minutes of your time to focus on their breathing, to refresh their brains before they start attempting the relevant section. So you might think that I'm asking you to waste time. If you try to implement it for the first time, definitely it is going to lead to a time wastage. But if you practice this technique, when you take steps to recalibrate your brain or refresh your brain at the very beginning of each section, it's as if you are gaining some additional time, because you are taking steps to avoid undue stress levels. Because when you are stressed, you'd panic leads to brain freeze. So you are avoiding all these anxieties when you take steps to focus on your breathing or recalibrate your brain. Make sure that you are capable of utilizing your prefrontal cortex at maximum capacity. And it helps to drink some water as well, because it will be an influx of additional oxygen, which is going to be good for brain functions, good for blood circulation. But the problem is at certain examination centers, you won't have the opportunity of having a water bottle with you. And if you're attempting the exam at home, definitely you can't have a water bottle with you. So this is not a real option when it comes to stress management. So the best option out there is to take steps to switch off your amygdala by focusing on your breathing. So on top of what I taught in last week's webinar, I taught you how to structure, not last week's webinar, rather, the last webinar, which happened 2 weeks before. I taught you how to structure your answers. I taught you how to plan your answers. And at the same time, I taught you how to manage your time. On top of these two techniques, answering and time management, now you know how to manage your stresses at the exam as well, because definitely at your exam in sections 3 and 4, you are going to be exposed to some type of stress, which is due to the fact that you are operating in a time pressured environment. And this leads to fatigue. Fatigue leads to stress. Stress leads to panic. Panic leads to brain freeze. Okay. So in order to, you have to get a good understanding of how you should fare under stressful situations, under real exam conditions. That's why I want you guys to practice these 3 techniques: answering, time management, and stress management techniques whenever attempting a mock exam. And when practicing these 3 techniques, it's essential that you practice under exam conditions. That's why I want you guys to attempt each mock exam via our exam platform if possible. And as per the CIMA examiner, when you are conducting your preparations, you are supposed to practice mock exams. And when doing so, you are supposed to type or write full mock exams, full answers. With the intention of practicing answering, time management, and stress management techniques. All right. So I hope you will practice these 3 techniques whenever you are attempting a mock exam, because without practicing these 3 techniques, just because you know these 3 techniques, you are not going to be in a position to implement them successfully for the first time at your exam. So that's why I'm urging you guys to practice these 3 techniques whenever you are attempting a mock exam, because by the time you are done with the 6 mock exams, you would have championed these 3 techniques, which will ensure that you will never run out of time at your exam. You will manage stressful situations, and this will ensure that you develop well-structured, high-quality answers, which are intended to give you an extremely good chance of passing the exam comfortably. All right, so you might be attempting the exam at home. If you're yet to book your examination, think twice before attempting the exam at home. Why am I saying this? Because if you're facing constant power outages, or if you're facing internet drops, I'm not recommending you guys to attempt the exam at home. Instead, attempt it at an examination center, because if you face any technical issues at an examination center, you have someone, um, the invigilator, who will help you. You won't have the same type of help if you're attempting the exam at home, especially if your internet is bad, or you are experiencing regular power outages. So if you're attempting the exam at home, please go to this link and get your grips with how the Pearson VUE system works. I will share this link with you after this webinar via the WhatsApp group. All right, so I'm happy to say that we achieved a 95% pass rate in the OCS exams, which were conducted in August 2025. And our highest scorer was Darren, who ended up scoring 118. So your pass mark is just 80, but this guy ended up scoring 118. You can achieve a similar feat if you stick to our study approach, if you stick to our three-step process focused on mastering each mock exam. So it's essential that you walk into the exam without any knowledge gaps. It's essential that you practice your application skills. It's essential that you practice your answering time management and stress management techniques under exam conditions. If you do all these things, if you stick to our study plan, you can easily pass this examination, given the fact that out of the 3 case studies, OCS is the easiest one. All right, so having said that, I'm moving to the Q&A. So if you have any questions, you can switch on your mic and talk, or drop a message via the chat. So Victor is asking a question. I failed F1 on the 30th of December 2025. Which course should I take? So Victor, I want to know whether you have cleared F1, or are you yet to do so? Because if you are yet to clear your F1 examination, forget about the OCS exam. First things first, focus on passing F1. Once you're done with it, then you can think about preparing for the OCS exam. So I don't mind even if you take a week to complete your F1 examination if you're yet to pass it, because you still have a full month at your disposal. And I will share, just drop me a message via WhatsApp. I will share a study plan with you, which is spread across 4 weeks, because I've shared a study plan which is spread across 5 weeks, but I will definitely share an amended study plan if you reach out after completing your F1 syllabus, so F1 exam rather. So don't try to juggle both these elements. It's quite tough. First things first, complete your F1 examination. After doing so, simply drop me a message. You can drop a message via the group chat, or direct message me. I will then tell you about your next steps. Okay, you haven't cleared it yet, so Victor, don't really worry about OCS. Clear your F1 examination ASAP. I hope I addressed your question. Victor is asking another question. Is the new syllabus of F1 changed so much? You might be referring to the syllabus change, which is really going to impact the OCS exams happening May 2026 onwards. Not really, mate, because if you look at the syllabus changes, it does impact F1, but it's kind of minor. You need not really worry about it. The major impacts are concerning the MCS and SCS examination, so you need not really worry about these changes right now. I hope I addressed all your concerns. And Victor, make sure to drop me a message. This is the WhatsApp number. Please drop me a message on this number. I will share a document with you, which gives you a good time management plan when it comes to navigating CIMA OTQ examination. So you might have failed due to mismanaging your time. So I'm going to share some best practices with you I'm going to share a document, so drop me a message. This will be extremely beneficial for you, especially in terms of how you should manage your time as well as strategy when it comes to attempting these OTQ exams. I hope you will drop me a message on this number. All right. Anything else, folks? If you want, you can switch on your mics to have a chat with me. Any questions? If you are you have you started your preparations, or are you yet to start? Are you feeling anxious? You can share your thoughts with me. I'm here to help you. So Phil Sunny is asking a question: how to write a mock exam using FLP using the exam platform. Well, Filson, I was talking in terms of the exam platform. I was talking about the exam platform which we had developed at TCS. I'm not too sure whether you have access to a similar exam platform or an exam platform which is akin to the Pearson system via the FLP platform. As per my understanding, there was no such platform previously. I don't know whether now they have given you access to a similar platform. Um, so irrespective of that, if you have access to our mock exams, if you invest on our value course, you have access to all mock exams, and each of these mock exams can be attempted under exam conditions via our exam platform. As I mentioned, as I showed you earlier, via our student dashboard. I'm going to simply show you what's available under the free course. So under the exams tab, you will see all 7 mock exams lined up. So once you click on each mock exam, it will direct you to the exam platform via which you can attempt each mock exam under exam conditions. I hope I addressed your concern, Filson. Okay, Filson is saying I have a mock to be completed in the FLP, but they say I should complete under exam platform. Okay, then they might have given you access to the Pearson system, or they might have built their own platform. I'm not too conversant with this exam platform, so go attempt it. There should be some type of an option, and if you're struggling to find this option, contact your local CIMA office. They will guide you. Lavinia is asking a question: are all the mock exams developed by TCS based on the Sumtrix? Definitely. All our mock exams are exam standard and pre-scene specific. That is why it takes a lot of time for us to develop mock exams in each session. All our mock exams are totally focused on Sumtrix, the current pre-scene. I hope I addressed your concern, Lavinia. Okay, Lavinia, if you look at this answer plan, which is taken from mock number 1, section number 1. Okay, so if you look at this answer plan, you can see that these are question to do with activity-based costing. So, if you look at the answer, it says the cost pools grinding equipment, operation, polishing, and consumables, robotic testing, manual testing. All these activities are aligned with what is highlighted within your pre-scene. So binding and tip guard fitting, all these things are tied to manufacturing, ski equipment. I hope I addressed your concern, Lavinia. Filson, did I address your concern? Anything else, folks? Lavinia is saying thank you. I will put. Okay. All right. And Lavinia, whenever you have a problem, drop me a message. You're welcome, Filson. Anything else? So one of you is asking a question. Did you ever have students who failed after attending your program? Well, yes, that's why we achieved a 95% pass rate, not a 100% pass rate in August, because one of our students failed last time. Well, this usually happens given the fact that folks do not stick to our study plan. So, as I've mentioned previously, just because you have access to all the mock exams or the study resources, you are not going to pass the exam, because there are some students who wait until the final 2 weeks to start prep, and this is not enough time to conduct revision, because as per what I highlighted at the very beginning of this session, you need to stick to this three-step preparation process with the intention of mastering each mock exam. So when you start just in the final 2 weeks, yes, you will have time to practice the 6 mock exams, but you won't have to have time to learn or to revise. And if you don't learn all theoretical concepts as well as application, and when you don't take steps to revise theory and application, you are not in a position to pass this examination. So it all comes down to you sticking to the study plan. If you are disciplined enough to stick to this study plan, if you are disciplined enough to master each mock exam by sticking to this three-step process, then you need not worry about failing this examination. However, if even after having access to our study resources, if you are haphazard when it comes to your preparations, if you do not spend enough time to improve your skill set, then you are not going to pass this exam. Okay, so that's why, unfortunately, we didn't achieve a 100% pass rate last time, because students are not really serious. Some students, I'm not saying that everyone is like that, but some students are not really serious. They only panic just a week or two before the examination. So that's not enough time for you guys to really improve your skill set. I hope I addressed your concern. So you're asking, is the remaining 4 weeks enough to practice all 6 mock exams and possibly pass? Yes, definitely. So you will have to put in some extra effort, because as per our study plan, which is spread across 5 weeks, I said that on average you need to spend something like 10 to 11 hours of preparations on a weekly basis, or study time on a weekly basis. But when you're supposed to when you're trying to attempt the same 6 mock exams within just 4 weeks, you will have to put in some extra hours for studies. So you might have to spend something like 11 to 13 hours per week in terms of preparation. However, if you are capable of dedicating this type of study hours, which spans across 11 to 13 hours, then you can easily pass this exam, because it all comes down to mastering each mock exam by sticking to the three-step process which I highlighted earlier. So if you practice each mock exam, you are taking steps to practice your answering, time management, and stress management techniques under exam conditions. And when you go through the answer plans and when you redevelop the answer plans, you are taking steps to learn theory and work on your application skills. So if you do this within just 4 weeks, focused on all 6 mock exams, you can pass the examination, because if I'm not mistaken, this individual ended up scoring 118 by conducting preparations in the final 3 weeks. So he has not mentioned it in here. It's not mentioned in here. It's mentioned here. I scored 118 with 3 weeks of preparation. So this individual started just 3 weeks before the exam, just like you. Was asking whether he was able to pass the exam. I said that as long as you are disciplined, you can do so. He stuck to the study plan religiously and ended up scoring 118 for his OCS exam. So you can achieve the same feat when you have access to 4 weeks, as opposed to having access to just 3 weeks of preparation. I hope I understood your concern. RSV is asking a question. I have P1 left only to pass before attempting OCS. Will I have enough time if I have roughly 3 weeks? Well, since you are coming through the OTQ route, yes, you will have enough time. So I will, I ideally want you to pass P1 as fast as possible. And the worst case scenario should be a situation where you have just 3 weeks at your disposal. Still, this guy passed within just 3 weeks. So you are coming through the OTQ route. Darren came through the FLP route or the exemption route, and this individual had to master all 6 mock exams within just 3 weeks. So since you are coming through OTQs, you need not, you won't struggle with each syllabus area because you have already learned your theory. So as I mentioned earlier, it's simply a matter of brushing your application skills. So you can simply go for the essential course and, attempt the 3 mocks and master the 3 mocks to pass. Or if you really want to make sure that you pass this time, go for the value course. Then you'd gain access to all 6 mock exams and conduct your prep focused on these 6 mock exams. Focus more on redeveloping answer plans with the intention of fine-tuning your application. If this is the case, even within 3 weeks, you can easily pass the exam, especially given the fact that you have already learned your theory under the OTQs. I hope I understood your concern, RSV. She says, he or she says, thank you. Will do my best to pass P1 to crack on with the OCS mocks. Yes. So all the very best. Put in the hard yards in the upcoming week or two to complete P1. Another individual is asking a question. I'm coming from the exemption route and I'm not confident with E1, comfortable with F1 and P1. Can I make it for this exam? All right. So in terms of your E1 syllabus, it's actually not tested, not really tested at your exam. So if you look at this document, you can see that mostly it's about P1 or F1. So variance analysis, budgeting and controls, costing and pricing, forecasting, risks and uncertainty, and in short-term decision making, an E1 related element is tested, which is in terms of non-financial factors in decision making. Other than that, E1 is not really tested in all these modules rather. And also when it comes to suggesting KPIs, if you're supposed to suggest non-financial KPIs, your E1 related knowledge will be tested. And let me see whether there's something else. No, that's it. So these elements are minute, and all these elements, since they are covered within the mock exams, you really need not worry about E1 coverage. So the weightage is extremely less, as I mentioned earlier, because if you look at these 3 pillars, E, F, and P, the E pillar is tied to decision making. So at this stage, you are supposed to play the role of a finance officer. So you are not really involved with decision making. Instead, you are assisting decision makers. So your role is to actually explain something or evaluate something. You are not supposed to actually come up with your own decisions. So that is why the E pillar is not really tested, but from MCS onwards, at the MCS exam, you are supposed to play the role of a finance manager, and at SCS, you are supposed to be a senior finance manager. So in these, designations, you are supposed to be involved with decision making. That's why the E pillar comes into play. And at the SCS exam, for instance, which is your last exam, the entire paper is mostly based on the E3 syllabus. So at this stage, there's no decision making. So that's why the E1 related elements are not really tested. And even the minute elements are covered within our mock exam. So you need not really worry. I hope I addressed your concern. Okay. You are saying that you are confident with F1 and P1. Attempt mocks under exam conditions to really figure out how you fare. because you might feel confident after going through FLP resources, because FLP resources are extremely easy. And if you look at the mock exams, they are comparatively easier when you compare it with the real exam papers. So you might feel comfortable, but be cautious. That's my recommendation to you. I hope I addressed your concern. Anything else, folks? All right, folks, thank you very much for all your questions. I hope I addressed everything. So if you want to contact us, you can do it via our website, which is www.study@tcs.com. Visit our website and click on the contact button and drop us a message. Our admin staff will get in touch with you via email during office hours. And if you want to directly email us, you can do so via info@study@tcs.com. Or if you need instantaneous support, you can reach us via this WhatsApp number. And I urge you to follow us on our social media handles, especially YouTube and TikTok, because via YouTube, you would gain access to the recorded versions of the weekly webinars and workshops, which are conducted free of charge. And also via TikTok, you would gain access to a set of videos, 6 videos, if I'm not mistaken. And this is a good pre-seen mind map. So on your way to office, for instance, you can keep watching these TikTok videos. And alternatively, we have shared this pre-seen mind map with you, which is in PDF form. You can download this via the exam platform or sorry, the student dashboard. So you can go through this document on a continuous basis until your examination, to constantly keep yourself reminded of the most important points highlighted within your pre-seen. So, and on top of that, if you're yet to read our blog post, visit our website, click on the blog area and blog page rather, and read the blog post which we have developed focused on Sumtrix. So having said that, it brings us to the end of the 4th webinar. I hope you gained something out of this session. And as I mentioned earlier, if you are yet to learn the answering and time management techniques, please go watch the recorded version of the 3rd webinar, which is accessible via our student dashboard and YouTube. And if you are yet to start preparations, you have enough and more time. You have 5 full weeks at your disposal, which is enough time for you to practice all 6 mock exams and master answering, time management and stress management techniques, as well as significantly improve your application skills whilst getting conversant with how each syllabus area can be tested at your examination. So start your preparations right now. Don't wait until the last moment. Don't waste time, because if you start right now, you have enough and more time to significantly improve your skill set. So before I wind up, I think another question had come through. One of you is asking a question: do you recommend then to attempt on the first day or the last day? Does that make a difference? Well, it never makes a difference, because we cannot predict which variant can be tested. So, select a day which is convenient for you. And if you face any technical difficulties, you need not worry, because a week later, when the MCS exams are happening, you will be given the opportunity to reattempt your OCS exam without having to pay anything. You won't get the same variant, you will get a different variant. But if you face any technical difficulties, you need not worry about reattempting, because you can reattempt the OCS exam a week later. I hope I addressed your concern. All right, so superb. So thank you very much, folks, for joining. I'll see you guys next week, in which I'm going to conduct a masterclass focused on a question concerning the F1 syllabus. Thank you for joining. See you guys next week.